In this video, we're going to show you how to install the valve cover on your Ford Taurus 3.5 liter located on the driver's side or front portion of the engine. We want to follow our air intake tube back to the throttle body, and we're going to use an 8mm socket to loosen the hose clamp here. Once that's loose, come on down here, and there's a hose right here connecting to the side. There's a little gray clip. You're going to gently pull that out and back. That's going to allow you to go ahead and pop that hose off. On the air filter lid here, there's going to be two spring clips down at the bottom. Pop those off. And we're going to pull this up as well as pull this back a little bit. Now on the back here, before we yank this off, there is a vacuum hose right here. We just need to pull that up and off. That's it. Let's go ahead and work this off. Lift up, and as you pull it out, there's these three tabs here that need to come out of the air filter base. Go ahead and set that aside. Now the next step is probably going to be the most crucial step. Before we remove all of these components, we want to go ahead and clean up any dirt and debris around the engine here, because when we open this up, it's going to expose the internals of the engine, and we don't want to have debris fall down inside. I'm going to use compressed air and some spray solvent, and I'm going to spray it around the perimeter, and I'm going to blow out all of that debris. You can use a vacuum, you can flip that vacuum hose around and do the blowing on it, but whatever you do, you want to go ahead and clean this up the best possible that you can. Let's now separate our harness from all of the connectors and everything here. You can go ahead and wiggle this off, but I like to use a pair of pliers. Just gently grab that and pull this up and off. We're going to use our trim tool over here. Just going to get underneath these here, gently wiggle those up. Let's disconnect our electrical connectors from our ignition coils. I'm going to push up on these little white clips. There's our locks. And then push down on them. You can slide those up and off. You follow this over here to our VVT solenoids. On our exhaust one here, should be a little lock. Use your pocket screwdriver, get underneath that little lock tab here, and you can pinch that and pull that off. The intake one should also have a lock tab on it, but ours is missing. The This harness itself comes back to a ground strap onto the engine itself. If your wire harness is in the way of the valve cover coming out, we're just going to go ahead and loosen that, and we'll adjust that wire. That is an 8mm. Here we go. Just move that up and out of the way. Now across our valve cover is this wire. Runs right across the front and it runs down. And there's one more retainer clip down below. We're going to use our trim tool to go ahead and pop that off. Now if you follow that wire down, it comes all the way down here to this white connector. This is our oil pressure switch. And you can fit your arm down, right down in front of the engine here between the hose. And you're going to reach down, and there's a little pinch tab on there. You're going to press down on the front portion of it and pull that connector off. I'm going to use my trim tool to go down and pull that harness off. Okay. Now the connector that we're going to be pressing on is right here. You're going to put your finger on that and press it, and then pull that connector off. I'm going to put my hand down facing the engine. I'm going to pinch that and pull that off. Now we can pull this up on top. Get that out of the way. Let's go ahead and disconnect our hose here. This has a gray connector on it, just like the other end did, where it went to the intake tube. So what we're doing here, here's the little spring clip, and we take that and we push that over and then release it, and that allows us to go, allows us to pull it off. When you go to put it on, you can go ahead and engage that and just push the hose on when it comes time to install it. I'm going to remove our ignition coils. We're going to use 8mm socket and our ratchet. Just using a 1/4 inch ratchet. You can use a 3/8 if you want. Okay, to remove these here. Don't drop them, don't lose them. We're going to be reusing these later on. Once you get these out, we're going to go ahead and remove the ignition coils. You can go ahead and grab these here, gently twist them, and then pull out as you're twisting them. I'm going to come out with the boots. Do that for all three. I'm lining these up as I remove them because I want them to go back in the same cylinder as I removed them. Go ahead and grab your oil dipstick. Give that a little tug and pull it out. We're going to go ahead and wipe this clean. and then set this aside. Using our 10mm deep socket and extension, we're going to go ahead and loosen the valve cover bolts. Now these here utilize a capture system with the rubber grommet. Sometimes they'll pop right out with the rubber grommet. Other times when you remove the valve cover, the bolts will come out with the grommets and the studs. Just making sure these are all loose. The next thing we want to do is we can go ahead and loosen the valve cover. Sometimes you can get under the edge of it and gently pull and they'll pop right up. And other times you're going to need a pry tool to go ahead and loosen this. Now I'm just using a small pry bar here, just to get along the edge here and pry up on this, lifting it. And there's another plastic retainer here. And what's keeping this stuck in place is the valve cover gasket. It sticks to the cylinder head, so it is going to give you some resistance on there. There we go. Just gently pry that up, rock it around, pull that up and off. Let's go ahead and remove the gasket. In some cases, this gasket will come off with the valve cover. In our case here, you can see that it's pretty well stuck to the cylinder head. We will not be reusing this, so you can go ahead and discard that. Next thing we want to do is go ahead and clean the cylinder head where the gasket is going to be placed with the new valve cover. Now, you don't want to take a chemical and spray the engine. That's for engine oil only. So you're going to take a towel or rag, spray it off on the side with some spray solvent, and then clean the cylinder head. And make sure that you're wiping away. You do not want to wipe any dirt into the engine. And do this all the way around the perimeter. Now there's going to be 2 points that we need to clean up some residual gasket making material. This one right here, right by the timing chain area, and then there's one on the opposite side. And what this is for is that when you assemble the valve cover and gasket onto the engine, we do need to put some RTV or a gasket maker right here where the timing cover meets the cylinder head. Now you can see it's not a lot, it's just a small dab. We're going to peel off anything that we can. We don't want that to fall down inside the engine. Then we're going to use a plastic razor blade here. We don't want to gouge the aluminum at all because that can cause for an issue with sealing afterwards if you use a regular razor blade. So they make plastic razor blades. And clean that up. Once you're satisfied with that, go ahead and give it another wipe down with some spray solvent. Clean off that razor blade, and then we're going to do the same for the upper portion here. Remember, don't let any of that fall down into the engine. As you're cleaning it, scrape it away. Grab a fresh towel, spray solvent, and just wipe those sections down. Now that our cylinder head is cleaned off, we want to go ahead and apply some fresh RTV to the 2 points where the timing cover meet the cylinder head. I'm going to take a little bit here, and that's about it. And we're just going to put that little dab right on that seam. And then close up the gasket maker material here. Now go ahead and grab your valve cover. We're going to flip this over. And what we want to do is we want to inspect all of the gasket here. Make sure that it's pressed in all the way around the perimeter. And you can see I'm pushing the studs through. These are all in place, ready to go. Make sure all those grommets are fully seated. Now the new valve cover comes with all of the gaskets for the spark plug tube seals and your VVT solenoids. Let's go ahead and position this accordingly. Now, we're going to go ahead and get this into position. Line up your spark plug tube seals here. Once those are lined up, everything else is going to line up. So go ahead and gently work this down, just gently rock it. Push that down. I'm going to use my extension with my socket, and I'm just going to run these studs in by hand. And there's a reason why we're doing this by hand. There is going to be a torque sequence that we need to adhere to when installing these here. So get all these started by hand first. Once you get these started by hand, then we can come back and we'll run them down until they seat, and then we'll torque them. Never start these bolts with a power tool. If you cross thread it, you're going to open up a can of worms. You don't want that to happen. Before I go ahead and fiddle around with anything else, I'm going to go ahead and grab my old valve cover and I'm going to remove the oil fill cap. Twist that counterclockwise. Take that oil fill cap and install that. I'm going to go ahead and run these bolts down. As soon as they have resistance, just stop. Now we're going to go ahead and torque these down. Let's go ahead and get that sequence. Now we're going to torque these down to 89 inch-pounds or 7.4 foot-pounds. And it's critical that you torque these. You can crack that valve cover, cause all kinds of headaches if you don't torque these properly here. And you want to follow this torque sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now that we're torqued, we're going to install our ignition coils. The coils themselves have metal sleeve inserts. So when we install our bolts here, we're simply just going to snug those down gently. I usually like to run these down as far as I can by hand. Now when doing this job here, if you want to, you can go ahead and replace the spark plugs. In order to replace all 6 spark plugs on this particular vehicle, you do have to remove the intake manifold to get to the back ones. Snug, snug, and snug. Remember, you're just kind of holding these ignition coils in place. There's no movement going on with these here, and vibration isn't going to cause these to come out. We can go ahead and install our harness now. Now we're going to run our connector down for our oil pressure switch. Push it in, you can hear it and feel it click in. And then up above, clip in that retainer. And we'll install this retainer here. Put the other one in the valve cover here. Install this retainer here and this one here. Now we can go ahead and install the sensor clips. Press these on. Push down on your lock tabs if you have them. Install our ignition coil harnesses. Don't forget to push those lock tabs down in a position. So you're going to clip those in and then push in. Don't forget, if you did loosen this 8mm bolt over here on that ear on the valve cover or on the cylinder head, you need to tighten that down. If you don't, well, you're going to run into some drivability problems. So don't forget that. Snug that down. Go ahead and grab your oil dipstick. Install that. Now on the old valve cover, we have the vent tube here. We need to go ahead and remove. Simply grab a pair of pliers here, and you grab this and just gently twist it. I'm going to go ahead and put the valve cover aside. Go ahead and line that up, get that started, and twist it on. Grab the hose here and line that up, and just simply push that down and on. You can hear it and feel it lock into place. Let's go ahead and get our air box set up here. I'm going to go ahead and put the tabs in to our airbox base, wiggle those in, then we'll go ahead and lower this down in a position. Now you want to make sure that the flexible portion here slips over the throttle body. You don't want that to roll over or bind. Make sure that's seated. Clip your airbox spring clips here. Install this hose, push it on, It's locked in. Push on the vacuum hose on the back. Let's go ahead and tighten down our hose clamp. I just popped that vacuum hose off there just so I can get clearance with my ratchet. You want to make sure that's good and snug. At that point there, you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.